So if you're thinking about doing a podcast, I highly suggest you use Anchor, and here's why. Now, first things first, it's free, and you can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. I'm talking dollar bills, y'all. Plus, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you to the major platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a bunch of others, so that's one less thing you got to worry about. And they got all the tools you need to record and edit your podcast in one spot, and you can do all that from your phone or your computer, so in my opinion, it's really the easiest way to make a podcast. Now, if that's what you're looking for, and you're ready to jump on it, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. What up, though? Welcome to Tamara to the Break of Dawn, the show where you'll literally ride my train of thought as I discuss the different types of challenges and struggles that we all can relate to. I'm your host, Tamara Dawn, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. Now, you already know the struggle could be way too real sometimes, so my hope is that these shows will challenge and inspire you as I basically share the areas that I'm trying to grow in. So let's get it. All right. Y'all gonna learn today, boy. Whew. All right, so it's funny because when I began this series, and I don't know if series is the correct term because I feel like if it's a series, all the episodes should be together, like part 1, 2, 3, and 4 should have been one after another, not spread apart, but I don't care if that's not the technical term, that's the term we going with. You ain't got to correct me because it just is what it is. So in this series of Why I'm Single, when I started it and I just kind of started noticing stuff, I didn't really know how far or how many there were going to be. I knew there'd probably be more than one for sure, but now I guess I'll just be done when I'm done because the more life progresses, the more that's revealed to me, and it's really interesting. But side note, pause, let's Twix, if y'all happen to hear this, hey, somebody, I don't know who might know somebody from Twix, but you let them listen to this because I feel like this is some advertisement that they should be paying me for. But peanut butter Twix, man, if you ain't never had that, it's about fired in a mug. And I'm saying that because I just ate one. It's crazy because I don't even eat candy like that, let alone candy bars, but I love peanut butter Twix, and so if I do have a candy bar whenever, that's usually what I go for. The only sucky thing is that they're kind of hard to find, so I'm very fortunate that there is a gas station near my house that sells them, and so I usually just go there if I want it, and it's literally the only reason I will actually go inside the gas station. I go there to get gas often, but they already know what it is when I come in, when they see me, you know. That don't mean I go like that, but when I go, that's the only thing I get, and so, yeah, I just thought I'd share that with y'all. Y'all should try it if you ain't had it. It is amazing. Reese's peanut butter cups used to be my favorite, but this, yeah. So anywho, Why I'm Single Part 4, Toxic Traits. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, how this is being discovered or how I'm getting this revelation is, honestly, it's kind of based off. So remember when I said, and I might not have said it like this, but remember when I said if ever I have feelings for somebody, like I would overthink it and I would whatever. I probably didn't say overthink, but that's ultimately what I was saying, and I would try to talk myself out of it. And that's kind of where I'm at in real life, you know, trying to sort through whatever I think I may possibly somewhat kind of a little bit, maybe just a little bit, think I'm feeling or whatever towards someone. Don't ask me who if you know me in real life, because if you don't already know, you ain't gonna know, because I ain't gonna tell you, because that's just how I get down. That means we don't talk like that. So it is what it is. But I'm sorting through that, and as I'm sorting through that, man, some of the behavior and some of the things that are bubbling up to the surface in my heart and soul and whatever is like, ugh. And ultimately, this experience is becoming this just mirror of toxic behavior, because I'm kind of like, why is that your response? Why, you know? So, number one, this isn't necessarily, this isn't necessarily related to this particular situation, but this is something that I know is a toxic trait of mine and Drake. Sang it in a song or rap, whatever he be rapping or whatever, but he said, always saw you for what you could have been. We'll just stop there. I oftentimes get caught up in the potential of people, and oftentimes when that happens, I don't know, I'm very much this plays out two different ways. I'm very much a story kind of person, like, oh, this will be a great story. That's just in life, period. And so a lot of times I'll get caught up in that, but then also if I don't know, I believe the best about people, and I feel like sometimes I see people with, I don't know, just their potential, and I get caught up in that. And, you know, a developer, I don't know if you're familiar with Gallup. Man, I feel like I can't breathe. It's probably because I feel like I'm a little bit, y'all getting a little bit too much in my business, but it's what's on my heart right now. Hold on. Take I can't even talk either. Let me take a deep breath. It's gonna be okay. It's fine. It doesn't even matter. Okay, so potential developer. Developer is one of my top 5. Look it up if you don't know what Gallup Strength Finder Strengths is. But ultimately, it's like you this just made me think of, I was going to say something else, but then I'll say Build-A-Bear type stuff. So it's like, you know, you develop people, you help them to grow, you help them to whatever. And so I think, I don't know if that has to do with whatever, but I get caught up in potential and who somebody could be, what they could be, whatever. And I think a lot of times the downfall of that is that who they are right now is not, I mean, even if they get there, it doesn't mean that they're going to get there at any point remotely during our interactions. And so it's kind of like, I just feel like that can be toxic, falling for potential, and I think ultimately sometimes ignoring red flags. And so that's a toxic trait that these toxic traits really, I don't know if they necessarily are toxic to anyone else, because they don't necessarily affect anyone else, but they're also more so, besides that one, which, like I said, that one is not related to what's happening right now, but it's just something that I know has been whatever. These are more so hindrances, so they're toxic, because they really ultimately stop me from even trying to go there with anybody, because it's funny, because I was recently talking to my friend, and I was just telling her, like, sometimes I feel, I don't want to say crazy, because I don't necessarily like that terminology, but that's the best word that I can think of to describe how I feel, because, man, So I have this thing where I really feel like people really don't want to be bothered, and more so that I'm tolerated, not necessarily like celebrated. Like, man, I know that's not true. I do. Like, so don't hear this as some cry for help where I'm like, oh, woe is me. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just saying that that is something I struggle with where, like, let's say I hit you up and you don't respond, and the reason that you don't respond could be or if you take too long to respond, if the reason that you don't respond could be anything, hell, I don't respond instantly when people hit me up. So, but I know I'm legitimately, busy or whatever, or maybe I don't want to, maybe I don't want to talk to you depending on who it is, but this wouldn't be in like this type of situation that I'm talking about. And, I just have this thought where I just feel like, people really don't want to be bothered, and I'm more so just tolerated. So then if people don't respond or take too long to respond, that's just what it is. That's just what I think. And then it could be any reason in the world why it doesn't happen as quickly as I feel like it should, but that will make me feel like, okay, I'll go through this whole process where it's like, okay, why am I even tripping? Like, it's really not that deep. This, because I have been single for a long time, so this is not even people that I've been in relationships with. So this is just, oh, I might think I might kind of, sort of, a little bit, maybe, might feel like whatever. And then it'll make me, man, I don't like that I have that response of feeling less than just because someone doesn't want to respond or doesn't respond quick enough or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, this is doing too much. I can't do this. And this happens like often. And that's toxic, because ultimately what I realize, what I realize is that my dad's neglect is a way, especially because in May of last year, he hit me up so Mother's Day last year, he hit me up out of the blue. Hadn't talked to him in a few years prior to that. I want to say it was like 2016 on my birthday or something like that. And which June 27th. Hey, don't forget, big 40, so holla at your girl. Anyways, okay. So he randomly hit me up and was like, oh, explaining to me whatever reasons he hadn't, been reaching out or responsive or whatever. After a while, I, if I feel like you don't want to be bothered, then I'm not going to bother you. And I just, quit responding, quit trying. Not responding, quit reaching out, whatever. Okay, so that happened in May, where he hit me up and was like, I'm going to do better. I'm going to make more of an effort. I'm going to this, that, and the other. And so I'm like, okay, because I've always felt like I wouldn't want to be the reason that it didn't, we didn't have a relationship. I didn't want it to be because of me. That's how I used to think. And then when my uncle passed and my aunt made the group chat and whatever, and he just completely ignored me, I feel like that is almost worse than all the other years of whatever, because for one, you completely didn't acknowledge me, and everybody saw it, so there's that humiliation. But then it's like, you lied to me. You could have just called him and been like, hey, happy Mother's Day, I was thinking about you. That would have been cool. You didn't have to say, oh, I'm going to do better, I'm going to this, that, and the other. And then not only do you not do better, but you completely don't acknowledge me. And what I realize is that wound is, yeah, that's a worse wound than all the years leading up to that, because then it's like, wow, this is just, it's just who you are. Like, it just is what it is. And it just really, after that, you know, what I realize is and I'm sure there are other people that have fueled this lie that I believe, but he is a huge reason why I feel that way, that people really, you know, don't want to be bothered. And it's very toxic to operate out of woundedness. It really is. That's why I'm a huge promoter of being emotionally, mentally, etc. healthy, because when we're wounded, ultimately what we do is we kind of project that pain onto others, and intentionally or not, it doesn't matter. So it's like, because of that, when people, and I'm talking really slow because I'm kind of trying not to like get to the point of crying or whatever, because I could just kind of feel how this makes me feel when I think about it. But it's like, ultimately, what was I gonna say? When people display, it's like, it's a trigger, and it really just takes me back to that, to him, to that neglect, because that's something that has been, you might as well say, my entire life. Like, so it's kind of like, there's always, and I know this is not, like, I know in my mind, I wish y'all could see me tapping my mind. I kind of at one point want to get to the point of video podcast, but just side note, but right now while I'm in my closet, you know, this is just what we got, but that's just some future thoughts. But in my mind, I know that that's not true. I know that that's his own issues. He doesn't know how to be a dad. I mean, I don't know what it's like to go 30 plus years not in your kid's life. I haven't always been a perfect mom. And I haven't always, like, my son lives with his dad, so during points in my life where I had, like, not different points spanned out over, whatever, but, like, earlier in his life when I was in a very toxic relationship, and there were a lot of, I don't know, foolishness and arguing and fighting and just all this stuff and just drama, I felt like it was better to protect him from that, rather, because at that point, I just wasn't at a point to leave the relationship. I just kept thinking, oh, it'll get better, and it didn't, and eventually I left. But while I was in it, I felt like when there was mess going on, it was better to protect him from that, so he wasn't around as much, like he was, because I felt like he was safer and better off with his dad, and that wasn't his dad, but so, like, why have him go through that? And I'm gonna just leave it at that, because I always try to really, since then this person has passed away, it's the girl's dad I'm talking about, so it's like I don't ever want to, and I've forgiven, and it is what it is. So I say all that to say I am in no way a perfect parent at all. So in some ways I try to understand, like, I don't know what that's like. I try to always see things from other people's perspective, but it's just really hard when it just has, so, it just really, that's a trigger when people do that, and I think it's really, it'd be unfair to, and I don't know, maybe, I just feel like I need a lot of reassurance. I don't know if that's a toxic trait, but I just know that's something I've realized. I realized it at work. One of the program manager, director, I don't know, my boss's boss, I would go to her a lot and be like, do you still think I'm a good case manager? Like, there was a point when it was just a lot going on because we were short staffed, and so I don't like to feel behind or whatever, and so once a week I would go in her office and vent, and then also she knew that I needed reassurance and she would give it to me. And I really appreciate that about her because she didn't have to do that, but I think that was just what makes a good leader sometimes, is understanding what's needed to support your staff. And so in that turn, I just feel like, I need a lot of reassurance. I lean more towards distrust of people and situations, and it's almost like I look for any excuse to be like, this is doing too much, this is too much, or whatever. And I know that's not healthy, so I know that if I wrestle with that, just thinking maybe I might kind of a little, you see, I can't even really say it, you know what I mean? But if I wrestle with that now, I don't know what that looks like to be in a relationship, and I just think that's unfair. And so as a result of that, I'm not about to I'm not out here trying to take anybody through my mess, and I don't know if is it healthy to need reassurance, or does that mean like I have some issues I need to work through, and it just seems like a lot of work would be involved in trying to be in a relationship. And I'm saying work, not really necessarily with the other person and whatever, but I'm saying like my own work, like dealing with my own issues and stuff. And it just seems like a lot. And ultimately, the situation really is like this mirror of all my toxic traits. Not like intentionally. It is what it is. Because when I see how I respond to stuff, I'm like, wow, like, what's wrong with you? And I'm sure it's normal. It's whatever. We all have been through whatever, and we all go through whatever. But as a result of that, that's a big reason why I don't, I'm like, I wouldn't say anything or, whatever, because it's like, am I even, like, let's say the feelings were mutual. Ooh, I said feelings. But let's say it was, am I in a position to even go there? I don't know. Somebody would have to be, because it's not just my dad, it's just every situation I've ever had. I'm not saying they were all bad, but really none of them were good for me. So I'm not going to say, no shade to the people, but I'm just saying the relationships, they were all learning lessons. And I'm just at a point when it comes to relationships, I don't want any more lessons. I just don't want any more. Sure, I want to grow together. I want to, build each other up, whoop-de-woo, but I don't feel like going through any more lessons, and I just have lost faith. It's crazy, but since, I'm just being honest, I've just kind of lost faith in that becoming a thing. I think because it hasn't, it's situationships, and it's, people coming for their own selfish gain of what they want to get from the situation, and and then that's it. So it's kind of like, and that statement can be taken multiple different ways. So I'm not just talking about like physical intimacy or whatever. And so I don't know. I've just reached this point where I'm just like, I just can't fathom. Like, when I say I can't fathom, y'all don't even understand how, like, that just, I don't know. That's like somebody telling me, I don't know, you about to be white or something. Like, something that just seems completely impossible because I'm a black woman, so how I'm gonna be white? Or, I don't know. That's just, you about to be short. Well, I'm 5'9", so obviously I'm not short. So it doesn't make sense to me to even think that. It goes back to the feeling like too much. Like, I know how, like, wounded I am, and I just know, I don't know, you know, sometimes you hear stories of all kinds of stuff where somebody helped someone to whatever, I don't know, who knows, the people might have made that up, but I don't know, I can't see it, so I just know, yeah, with the too much piece, it's just, I know my struggles, I know my thought processes and whatever, and it's a lot, and whoever he may be, and I'm just saying in general, would have to be extremely patient, but I'm not, yeah, and it's not like I just have a lot of fear, and so, yeah, I would have to have patience and reassurance and all these things, and I don't know, is that fair to someone? I don't know. I haven't had anybody take the time or whatever, so I maybe it's unfair, and maybe it's just best that I, you know, stay as I have been. I have a dope life, so I know relationships don't make or break you. It is a desire, but I don't know. And it's not like I'm not doing work and trying to be healthy and whatever, because I do. But I also know that some stuff you have to walk out in order to become freer and whatever. And that just is very terrifying to me to walk that out. And then it's just, I've been single so long, gosh, almost 13 years at this point. And it just seems like just crazy. So there you have it. Why I'm Single Part 4. It'll be interesting to see if anything flips with these, or if it'll always be just left at that. I don't know if there's going to be a Part 5, because honestly, it's just as this stuff, like, I didn't plan for there to be a Part 4. I even debated on if I wanted to even record this, simply because I knew I would have to admit where all this is coming from, and I didn't know if I wanted to put that out there, but it's up there now, so it's whatever. So yeah, I've mentioned this before, and I want to start incorporating kind of like, I don't know if it'll be, I guess we'll figure it out if we go. I don't know if it'll be Q&A. I don't know if it'll just be y'all want to say, like, I really want y'all to be a part of the show. Someone asked me about that before, like, how do I give feedback or leave messages? So that kind of confirmed what I was already thinking, because as much as I love, ultimately, it's just me venting at this point, as much as I enjoy that, you know, y'all listening, I appreciate it. And so it's kind of like, I want to, and I don't even have to know you. It'd be dope to interact with people I don't know. No shade to the people I know. I appreciate, all y'all listening. I appreciate all the feedback, because then it's, y'all don't even understand. There are days when I'm like, does this even, like, matter? Or, I don't know, because there's always the part of me that's like, I want to make an impact. Like, I hope this is helpful. I hope you have some takeaways when you do this. Like, I love venting, but I don't want it to be all in vain, And so there are days when random people will just reach out to me, people I wouldn't even expect, and it's just super encouraging, because it's like, it's when I need to hear it that it happens. So I appreciate that, and as a result of that, it's like I want to be able to so I think, I know if you're on so I do the podcast through Anchor, and I know for sure on Anchor, so the link, I don't know how y'all found this. So I know on Anchor, and maybe I'll put okay, I know what I'll do. I'll put the what's it called? The link to the voice memo thing. Maybe I'll put that in the bio, so then you could click on it, because I want y'all to be able to leave voice memos, because if you can leave a voice memo, I would put, as long as it's not like something, and I'm not, okay, let me not make no promises. You might be in a future episode. I guess I'll just put it like that, because I don't know who's listening, and if it's something, super just out there or something, I'm not probably gonna, put it on the show, because it's like, my kids, my mom, I don't know. Or if it's mean, maybe, because I don't know. Don't be mean, though. I have a very, yeah, don't be mean. But, gosh, I feel so exposed, but it's whatever. I really, though, want to, if you record something, I could maybe possibly, because I don't want to make no promises, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if I would just add it on to the end of a future episode as like a bonus, or, but definitely next season starts April something. Well, after the 20th episode, the next season will start. There's not going to be any breaks. It's just, for whatever reason in my mind, every season has 20 episodes. So, at the start of season 2 is probably when I'll start adding these things on. I don't know how many I don't know what it looks like, but it's something I really want to do. So, what I'll probably do is, who knows, the link might already be up there by the time y'all listen to this. So if you see the link, it's the voice memo. Because I know, like, on Anchor is where the podcast is hosted. Maybe that's the correct terminology. And that's where you can record a voice memo for sure. I also know if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you can record a voice memo for sure. I haven't seen that on any of the other platforms. I know for sure it's not on Spotify, because we checked. So I think, yeah, that's probably the best way, is just for me to put the link. But anywho, yes. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Like I said, it really means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. I've gone on and on enough and told y'all enough of my business for this week. So, yeah. Until next time.